Hi guys, I am Rohan Singh and I am a 2026 mechanical engineering graduate from NIT Agartala, currently posted as a GET at Maruti Suzuki India Limited, Ahmedabad, Hansalpur unit. So when I talk about my college journey, it has always been dedicated towards one thing, and that is Formula One, motorsports, racing cars, and engineering in general about all of these various machines. So the skills that I mastered were related to the same. I tried to master computer-aided design, computational fluid dynamics, and aerodynamics. Now, I had a very specific reason for trying to do all of this. In my first year itself, my end goal was always Formula One. So, in my first year itself, I started exploring various means to get into Formula One to work with Formula One. Being in engineering, there were multiple options to be in Formula One itself, but since I liked mechanical engineering better, I thought of it as an opportunity to earn something that many Formula One engineers are unable to gain. So, as I explored through the various pathways, design analysis fit very well to me. I was able to connect to it very easily. Hence, I started working towards computer aided design, computational fluid dynamics, and in the end, apply it all on aerodynamics of Formula One cars. So, in computer aided design, I have learned how to use SolidWorks, PTC on Shape, and Siemens NX. As of now, my skill level is such that I am able to work on 3D modeling, but I am trying to take it to the next level by learning surfacing. Now, surfacing skills are usually used by the people who design all of these luxury hypercars like Lamborghini, Pagani, and Ferraris. Curvy shape of their bodies is something that you can only attain from surfacing. And since Formula One cars are designed in a very specific manner and there are multiple curves around the entire body, hence surfacing skills are very necessary for a person aiming to become a CAD engineer in Formula One. So the next skill that is of computational fluid dynamics, it is both theory and practical based. And a lot of times you have to know the exact theory before trying to put your head inside and trying to work on the software itself. So while computer aided design is something that you can learn on the go with practical experiences, for computational fluid dynamics itself, you will have to have a better knowledge of the theory because there are certain nuances in computational fluid dynamics which can only be learned through books, through forums, through the experiences of people. And aerodynamics itself is just an application of the fluid dynamics that you will be taught during your mechanical engineering years. So these three skills helped me design my bachelor thesis, which is the major project of fourth year as we call it at NIT Agartala. So for my bachelor thesis, what I did was I designed a Formula One front wing. Now, those of you who might be unaware, you can search it on Google and you will get a good idea of what I'm talking about. So, I designed a Formula One front wing for my bachelor thesis, and I was comparing it to research work done from Cranfield University. Through my design, through my optimization, through my regular updates to the design itself, I was able to create a design that was able to surpass the results from the research work done by Cranfield University. For reference, Cranfield University is among the top 30 in QS world rankings, and generally it is considered the best university when it comes to Formula One engineering. They also have a dedicated motorsports engineering program. Leaving that aside, my work was able to surpass theirs, and I successfully defended the thesis. So, as a result of this thesis, I was able to get a lot of attention online in Reddit forums, in LinkedIn itself, and I also earned the appreciation of various Formula One personnel. In particular, I had two experiences with this project, wherein the former head of people at Mercedes AMG Formula One team, a team that has won multiple championships in Formula One and one of the best teams in Formula One, the head of its people commended me for that. And if you do not know, Adrian Newey is one of the best engineers of Formula One. So his direct apprentice, someone who has worked under him for many years at Red Bull Racing, he reached out to me, offered me a scholarship for a 12-hour webinar wherein I would learn about Formula One engineering and aerodynamics in general through a live session. So I was offered a scholarship for the same. And now I'm working on increasing this project's, how should I say, I'm trying to increase the area that I'm covering. Earlier, I was only working on the front wing. Now, I'm aiming to design the entire Formula One car work on its CFD and aerodynamics, make it better, optimize it, and I will use this car's 3D model to participate in the Mantium challenge, wherein my car will be compared against other cars and it will be simulated via lap time simulators to find out which car is the fastest. My end goal is to be in Formula One still, and through this Mantium challenge, through this next project that I'm trying to do, I will make a last attempt, a Hail Mary, at trying to get into Formula One through general means and not just go through the desired pathway of going for a master's abroad and gaining a lot of experience. This project will be my last attempt at trying to do it in a bit easier manner. And yeah, in total, these are the skills that I have worked on: computer aided design, computational fluid dynamics, and aerodynamics. If I talk about my placement journey, I did not do a lot of stuff. My CGPA was okay, 8. So I knew what were my limitations, but I also knew what I was confident at. Through this confidence, what I did was I set a bar for myself. Do not appear for a company less than 8 LPA. So in total, I appeared for around, I think, 4 companies. Yeah. One was Schneider Electric. I did not get to the interview. One was JSW Group, but for some reason my resume was not shortlisted. One was Reliance, but there was a network issue in CDAC lab and my computer ended up turning off and the test went haywire. One was Escorts Kubota Limited. Now, this was my very first interview in NIT Agartala. Escorts Kubota Limited was a great interview, and that company itself, it was nice. The interaction with the HR personnel was nice, and in fact, I find it very nice that even though I did not get a role in that company, one of the HR was so, how should I say, one of the HR, he was very impressed by my skills and my overall communication that he reached out to me personally after the interview had ended via call. So even though I did not get the role, I'm glad that I made an impact on their mind. Next came Aditya Birla Group. I went to the interview round, but in the end, that role was not a fit for me, so I did not clear that interview because ultimately Aditya Birla Group was completely different from what I was looking for, so I could not match with them. At last, it came Maruti Suzuki India Limited and cleared the OA in November and finally gave the interview around the final week of December. So, in the interview itself, now this was a very long interview, around 1 to 1.5 hours. So, as soon as I entered the interview, I gave my resume to the HR. Now, what happens after this is, I think, one of my best interview experiences. One of my best interview experiences. There was nothing that could go wrong about this, both in terms of the HR personnel, both in terms of my communication with them, and the general synergy between us. So, for this interview itself, first I gave my resume to the HR, gave a short introduction. Now, I have a rule for introducing myself. I introduce myself in 3 sentences only. First is my name, second is my professional degree, third is my skills and what I can offer. So, through this simple format, I am able to introduce myself without any hiccups. I am able to update it on the go. I do not have to stick to a certain format. I do not have to stick to a certain rule. And I can easily just modify it and speak fluently. And I do not end up stuttering. So, yeah, these are the interview formats I use: 3 sentences. So, I introduced myself to the HR. The HR looked at my resume. He saw my projects. He asked me to explain the projects in detail. Now, when he said in detail, I immediately started explaining it from 0 to 100, right from the scratch. I completely overwhelmed him in the sense that I did not stop speaking for at least 30 to 40 minutes. I took breaks for drinking water, but I kept explaining the project until I was satisfied that I have said enough. Now, the best part about this entire explanation, this entire interview, was that the HR was very patient with me. He did not interrupt me once, he did not try to ridicule me once. He sat there, he listened for 40 minutes, and then he started asking questions. Now, the technical person, the technical HR as we say, he was the general manager of the Ahmedabad plant. And as soon as he heard my explanation for the project, he looked at my resume. A very intelligent moment came between us. He saw aerodynamics, he saw what I had done on my project work, and he just correlated it to something very simple. The question was, explain how an airplane flies. And A chain of questions came after this, wherein I would explain him how airfoils work, I would explain him boundary layer theory, I would explain him viscous flow of air, and this entire segment also went on for 30 minutes, wherein I explained how airplanes worked. I told him about how I had used airfoils in Formula One front wing project, how airfoils are connected in between, and what is the correlation between airplanes and the cars that I designed. So in total, this was like a segment where he would drop one question after another connected to the previous question. And a very good thing was that in case I was pausing, he would just skip that question, go to another question, and he would bring up the earlier question back again so that I could recollect my thoughts and I could finally answer it without a pause. So it was not a traditional, scary interview. It was more like a conversation between me and the HR, and I liked it very much and I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was an interview that I enjoyed genuinely. So these two things happened. Finally, there was a rapid fire round wherein he asked my favorite subject, and since we had already touched upon vehicle dynamics, aerodynamics, and automobile engineering, I had to choose internal combustion engines, which is also a part of our syllabus, as you know. So I talked about internal combustion engines, and he asked me multiple questions. It were very basic questions. For example, what is Otto cycle, diesel cycle, what is dual cycle, what is spark ignition, compression ignition, what happens when you put petrol in diesel vehicle, what happens when you put diesel in petrol vehicle. So it was not a big deal at all. Those were very simplistic questions. Anybody could answer it if they had paid enough attention to the basics of internal combustion engines. So this was how my interview ended. I got selected, and the news came in the first week of January. In March, I received my offer letter, and now I have joined the company in August. My department has not been decided yet, so I'm still a GET and I'm learning about the overall work at the company. I will get to know about which department I'm posted in September itself. A piece of advice that I would like to share with my junior batch is that do not settle for less. You will find people who always question you. You will find people who always make you belittled. You will find people who will always try to underestimate you. They will say that अरे NIT अगरतला है, क्या ही मिल जाएगा, 6 लाख की कंपनी है, भर दे और कुछ अच्छा नहीं आएगा. But I would like to emphasize on this sternly that if you have the skills, if you have the confidence in your skills, and if you are ready to go to any length to prove yourself right about your skill, then do not compromise. Do not care about what they say. Do not lower your standards. If you lower your standards once, you are giving up on that dream. If you lower your standards once, you are accepting that whatever they said about you was right. So be confident. I'm not saying that just go and forfeit everything, go and forsake everything. But if your gut feeling says that no, this is not up to my standards, no, I won't be able to progress here, then do not go for that thing. Because ultimately it's about fulfilling your own dreams. If you cannot feel confident about the role you are pursuing, if you cannot feel confident about the company you are appearing for, there is no way you will be able to work with all your heart in that company. See, the issue is that many people join a company, switch to another company, relocate to another place. I'm not saying they're wrong, but it just shows how much the current job market is volatile and how people are unsatisfied in a lot of stuff that they do. My advice for you will be that if ever you join a company, join it in such a manner that you are never unsatisfied with that company and the work you have been allotted. So yeah, do not lower your standards and always keep a backup option with you. For example, even though I'm a mechanical engineering graduate, I have worked for 3 years as a motorsports journalist at one of the leading publications of India in sports journalism and multiple international publications. So even if my engineering degree did not work out, I already had a plan that I could go for journalism, and it would work out very well indeed because the packages were very similar when it comes to both. So always keep a backup option. Do not think of these clubs as something that are useless. Many people say that अरे ये तो फालतू का club है. I was the uh, lead of the poetry and fiction segment at Nita Literary Club. People say that किसी काम का club नहीं है, it is nothing. But I assure you, all of those people can't even say a proper line in English. They cannot even debate. They cannot, for God's sake, ever speak a proper introduction of themselves in front of the HR. All of these people who end up belittling these clubs, they can't do jack shit about what these club members can do. So, those friends of yours who belittle you for being a part of a club, just understand that they are jealous and they are just lazy enough. If you are a part of a club, you joined it because you liked it and you are learning something from it. If you are not learning from it, of course, leave it. But if your heart says that you are learning something from it, stay. Because ultimately, you will find something there that helps you during your interview, during your job preparation, during your entire career and your personal life itself. If not for Nita Literary Club, I would never have known that I was such a good sports journalist. I would never have gone for sports journalism for my 3 years at college, and I would never have a backup option. So, yeah, my advices will be that stick to a path. People will underestimate you, but don't lower your standards. People will be jealous about your hobbies. If you feel good about them, do not forsake your hobbies just for social attention. You are what you are because of what you do. And remember that if you end up giving up on something just because somebody else told you to, there's no way you will ever progress in life, because the entire mindset of the society is to drag you down. And if you start listening to them once, you will listen to them again and again and again, and finally you will just be changed by that society and you will give up on your dream just because it was not comfortable enough for this society. And yeah, if you are mastering a skill, actually, this is a line that was told to me by my instructor, the Red Bull Racing Formula 1 guy who taught me for 12 hours in a live session. He said that in our culture, in Indian culture, the tradition is that we only marry once. So you just need to marry one skill. I married aerodynamics. It is up to you to marry what you like, what you love, and not cheat on it. Because if you start cheating, if you start switching your skills, then ultimately you will be unable to decide just what kind of path you want to take. So marry one skill and put your heart into it. That's all I would like to say. And in case anybody would want to reach out, you can message me on LinkedIn. I would love to talk about people who are interested in motorsports, in Formula One, in automotive engineering in general. And I would love to share more about what kind of work I do, what kind of designs I make. So, thank you.